Good morning. This is going out on Tuesday, March 26th. Hopefully, this weekend games went really well for you. Some of you had games like myself yesterday, and you're into the season already at this point. So, congrats. It is a sprint for sure. This is going to be an extremely quick video on over and back. Again, don't forget our keys. We're going to go over game management of over and back along with the rule. Again, simple things that we can do in our pregame to talk about it and then administer, work with our partners as well to continue going over these nuts and bolts of the game that do affect if we don't get the call right. So without further ado, we're going to move forward on this. And so what we're going to talk about is our clearing count. This is the over part of over and back, and then we're going to explain the actual rule. But the biggest thing is we have three different counts within a change of possession. The first count, not featured here, but if the goalie gets it, we have a 4 count, which is simultaneous with their 20. The defensive team on possession and a new possession of the ball, they are going to have 20 seconds to cross the midline, and we're going to explain the exact ramifications of what that actually means. And then they have 10 seconds once over the midline with possession to get into the attack area, the goal area, or what we colloquially call the box. When we then have those satisfied, we have additional things that occur. So we look at our rule 413 and then 414, which has 3 articles. All 4 bullets are here between those. The team, very simply put in rule 413, has to advance the ball over the midline within 20 seconds. 414 says they have to get into the attack area in 10 seconds after gaining possession across the midline. If the ball is loose, our count does not start yet. Then 414 Article 2 then says the ball touches anything inside of that area. So that is anything, again, within our midline area, including the line, satisfies our 20 count. Anything inside the attack area, including the line, satisfies the 10 count. It can also touch a person within that who's standing within that zone, or a person with possession touching the line or within the area, all satisfies it. So a lot of things, but simply think the offense has possession, touches the line or over, we've satisfied the count. If the ball touches anything in that area, we've also satisfied that count. When then we have Article 3, offensive team carries, passes, or propels the ball to its defensive half, we have an immediate turnover or play on. Again, that is called over and back. The rule does not state that term, but we use it as over and back. We also see it in other sports like basketball. We then, because it's the amazing game of lacrosse, we have a ton of exceptions, only 2 this time. The NFHS rulebook simply says a shot. The NCAA clarifies a little bit more where it needs to be a valid shot. So that's why I kind of put in a question mark. But if you and your partner deem it as a shot, that's the one time we should be yelling shot, right, to our partner, that we may not have an over and back. Sometimes we'll use yes, 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 or no, 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 no. We'll also use it's hot, it's hot. That is a good pregame topic to go over what you prefer. We're under no obligation to say that. Over communication generally works best, in my opinion. And so if it's a shot, we cannot have an over and back. That ball is allowed to come over the midline. And if we have a defensive player who causes or touches the ball last, so either carries, passes, or propels the ball over, we do not have it. If the defensive player is carrying it over, we have possession. We should have a new count going the other way, right? But to go through those rules, same thing is that if the offensive team passes it, it deflects off or tips off of that defensive player, we no longer have over and back. And as we see, we have a lot of things going on, right? And we're going to talk about this. We might have a push, we might have an offside, again, which is a line call. Do we have an over and back? All of this is happening within a 1 foot square radius, 25 yards away. There's a lot of stuff, especially in a 2-man game. So now that we have the back, what are our keys? We can only have 3 scenarios in an over and back. The first one, we have nothing. That's a shot came over, right? We have absolutely nothing. We have a defensive team carrying the ball over. We have nothing, right? 2, we have an over and back. This first picture, this is our nothing stance, right? Nothing going on. Check your belt, check your flag, check your timer, right? Nothing going on. We have an over and back, right, which is a play on, because if the offensive team has a chance to get it, again, we're going short, so we might go play on, over and back. Some of us also just go, if we know that that offensive player will not pick it up, immediate whistle. We don't even need the play on, we go. In a scenario, if there is nobody around that attack player, they are 20 yards by themselves, and the ball comes over and the immediate scoop, we might just point. It's what I call a silent play on. In our brains, we're saying this is going to be a play on. This is over and back. The attack got it. We're already going. We're already starting our 10 count. Coach might ask. I'll tell them it was a silent play on. You had over and back. If your player didn't pick it up, they're rewarded to it. For the sake of my brain and getting it from my brain out of my mouth, I just simply started the count because I also have to run back down to the goal line. We then have a third scenario where we have tipped or deflected. Again, we're under no obligation that we need to make this symbol, but this is a massive game management thing. If you can remember this, again, tipped, deflected, even on a pass out of bounds, whatever it is, it communicates that we have seen something and it's changing. Same thing where we see sometimes a loose ball that squirts out towards a sideline in a scrum. Not a bad idea, if you feel comfortable, to communicate who it's off. Last touch by blue, last touch by blue, off blue, something like that. You don't have to say it's going to be white ball, right? That's kind of presumptuous. But again, if it's a scrum and the ball's going out, you can communicate that. Again, if you feel comfortable, same thing. Tipped, 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 off blue. Tipped, 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 off blue. It's more so for your partner, but everybody else. Could be for the player, so that way we don't have a fight for the ball. We've seen that when it goes out of bounds, and then everybody's smacking sticks in the whole 9 yards, and then we might have delay games. We can prevent that. Coaches, same thing. So again, we either have nothing on a scenario that the ball comes over, such as a shot, right? We have an over and back if the offense propels, carries, or passes, right? We also then have a tipped or deflected scenario if the defense last touched or tipped the ball. So we have those three symbols. Those are our keys. In this video, you're then going to say, but Rob, what if? And then you're going to give me 30 scenarios. So we're going to give you all the scenario answers before you ask them, because we got you this year. If it's a loose ball, which is most likely, as we saw in that first clip, right? If we go back here, this is a loose ball. There is no possession. So as we said, let's look for the push. Let's look for the offside. Remember, in a loose ball scenario, it is extremely unlikely to have a flag in any scenario unless we have a personal foul. But again, if we have an over and back, we have an offside, or if we have a push, those are all technicals. Those are loose ball. Push, we're going the other way. Ball was loose, we have offside going the other way. Or loose ball, right? Loose ball, offside, stays this way. The defense went offside, right? Or, as we said, tweet, 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 we had an over and back. We're going this way, right? In those scenarios, take your time. This is a settled restart. You can control, especially in a two-man. As we just saw in the picture, the backside official might be far away. The lead official, this is technically running the wrong way, but you get what I'm saying. If the lead official is down on the other way, this is a three-man. That's why if the other official's all the way down, right, there's not a lot of coverage here. Come over, settle it down, get a whistle, go back over to your spot. And again, as we said, if we have nothing, you don't have to communicate that, right? We had a couple questions this weekend. This came up. 3 different people asked about over and back. That's why we're doing this one. Same idea. You can communicate that. Nothing, 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 nothing. That's a really good over communication in game management, right? We have nothing. We have nothing. We have nothing, right? It's tipped, shot, or still shot, shot, shot. We still have a shot, right? Simple things like that. If you're the lead, try to communicate, especially that shot, to your trail partner, as we said, right? A shot is still a shot. Probably be is in there. Shot, still a shot if it goes out of bounds. So if we have a scenario where this is a shot and this ball trickles all the way out to here, we now have to decide, again, extremely tough call in a two-man game, who is closest when and where it goes out. So it can come all the way here. We might be the attackman, we might be the defenseman, we might be the midfielder, we could be the long stick or a pole down here, right? So be aware that it is still a shot and it's still going to be awarded possession. The last part of that is what happens if the ball goes over we had tipped, we had deflected, we had a shot, right, in that scenario. If in the NFHS, right, we're not talking NCAA with their shot clock, but in NFHS, if the offensive team regains the ball in their defensive half, we restart the 20 count. And so they still are under obligation to re-clear over the midline within that 20 seconds. So we do a reset, right? Nice and high, reset, reset, reset with our whirly bird. We're going to turn on our 20 as that trail official. I like giving a point, right? And now we're back over. The rule book is mute in terms of do we add another 10 count because they already satisfied the initial 10 count. Remember, we cannot have over and back if the team did not satisfy that 10 count yet. And again, we're not talking stalling. That's a whole nother can of worms that we're not going to discuss today. But in that scenario, think logically, we need the team to re-clear the ball. In the event you then start another 10 count, I think we're good on that because again, we have our 20, we're going to say another 10, which is the most likely scenario. Bern and I went through that and we said, hey, probably needs to be another 10 simply because we had a 20. There's always a 20 and a 10, if that makes sense. So go with the 10 in the scenario. If you forget to do it, your partner forgets to do it, not the end of the world, in our opinion. But try to put that extra 10 on. Definitely put that 20 because we can't have the team hanging out in their defensive half the rest of the game. Reset that 20, and then as soon as they get over, throw your regular 10 on like nothing. They're going to get an extra touch. You see coaches will say the same thing. Even if they've satisfied it, get another touch just in case. Make it big, make it visible that they can see that our 10 is back on, right? And the idea is that we've come over into a new zone. We then have our counts and we have to reestablish. So with that said, do not forget your keys, your phone, your wallet, your parking space, your car, your beepers, your whistles, your flags, all that good stuff, your certification cards. Enjoy the week. The quiz is also out. Have some fun. We'll see you next Monday on Zoom.